the Era Vedanta Society has a number of objectives. Obviously, any Vedanta society would have the objective of propagating the eternal Vedanta philosophy. But secondly, to practically use that to serve the community around us. But the third objective, according to our constitution, is to propagate the life, character, and teachings of Sister Nivedita. And I think it's true to say that having heard our talk today, Sister Nivedita is a severely underrated person and personality. And you can see how easily, when we get to exactly who she is and what she can be everyone's inspirer. So I remember also, with great deal of affection and warmth, how warmly I was received at Sharda Math a few years ago, when I was invited to sit with General Secretary, revered Prajavarika, PrabuddhaPrana. PrabuddhaPrana, Mataji, yes. Who also visited us, yeah. And how I was taken to Boshpara Lane, and it was still under construction at that time. And also how I managed to visit Rasik's house as well. So warm memories of that. In Mataji's talk, she covered a wide range of subjects connected with Sister Nivedita. And I managed to take a few notes that I picked up on your behalf, and no doubt you picked up many more. First of all, Mataji told us about the posture or pose that we typically see Sister Nivedita in, and how it was probably more appropriate to have the Vraja, the thunderbolt, if you like, emblem on the one side, and on the other side the pen. And that, I think, for me, summarized a great deal about the character and the movement of energy that we call Sister Nivedita. Mataji very nicely gave us a portrait of the real person, using Hammond's description of her in a physical way, that she was an imposing figure, how she would, in an unknown way, walk into a room and make her mark. It struck me how she was proud of her Irish ancestry, and that's something that we underplay. In propagating the life and times and character of Sister Nivedita, it is one of our aims really to make the Irish people aware of their inherent cultural inheritance which is there. The fact that she visited here for a few weeks, in her letters she remarks how she is delighted or anticipates with delight the primroses in England and in Ireland. And so it's with some enthrallment that she must have come back to her ancestral home, where she must have replayed memories of her childhood. We were told how she had great grit, and the story of the determined farmer who didn't rest until he brought water to his field. We were told also of some other Irish ladies. We were told of Annie Besant and Margaret Cousins. I happened to go to a meeting in Northern Ireland arranged by the interfaith organization there, celebrating both Sister Nivedita and Margaret Cousins. And for the first time, I heard about Margaret Cousins, who was also part of the Annie Besant's Theosophical movement and was extremely interested in the suffragette movement, in fact very active in the suffragette movement. But principally, the idea of gathering here is to see how this tremendous personality of Sister Nivedita can inspire us. And there's some number of characteristics that were mentioned and inferred, how she was a great worker with great energy, a highly energetic person, how she had this vision that was connected with her master's vision, and how really her life was a dedication to her guru and an extension really of his work, and how she was asked to write the biography of this great man, Swami Vivekananda. For the inference is that she knew him more than many of his disciples, probably most of his disciples. And particularly on her journey when she traveled with him on the second journey, boat journey back to the West, where she spent time with him and learned from him intimately. And I think if you read her recall of that passage, it gives many insights into new understanding relationships with Swami Vivekananda. It was interesting to me how she saw India through her heart, was the statement made, and how she had a great historical interest and expertise, and how that assisted her in interpreting the Indian cultural heritage. How Swami Vivekananda had said to her, "Fight for me." And that really seems to be the essence of her life thereafter. There's no doubt that she made every effort to fulfill Swamiji's mission, who of course had some constraints because under his own rule he was not permitted to enter into the political sphere, political interests. It was a particular interest to me to see how she promoted the idea that Greek art, in every textbook we'll find that it was the Alexander's conquest of India that brought Greek sculptural styles. And in fact it's said in most textbooks how the form of Buddha was really a Greek style, that prior to that there was no real sculpture or picture of Buddha, only symbols of Buddhism. And yet we find the reverse to be true, that in fact it was the Buddhist style that influenced Greek. So these are some of the various points. There are others, of course, made by Mataji here. And what influence he had on everybody who came into contact with her. How she made the Indian people her own children. And we mentioned these two other Irish ladies, but for me, the distinction between Sister Nivedita and them was her spiritual character and the fact that she became, to all intents and purposes, Indian, and saw things from the Indian perspective, renouncing any inclination toward Western comfort. In terms of her qualities, therefore, we can pick up these various things, that she was a worker with an energetic vision, she was self-sacrificing, she had great humility, not endorsing her contribution to the opening of J. Chandra Bose's laboratory, for example. And her grit and her detachment. All of these are qualities that we should emulate. After all, it is within every one of us to find our individual destiny. And we also touched on that to see what Sister Nivedita from the very start found to be her destiny. Mataji told us that she could have been anything. She had that much energy and personality and direction, one-pointedness of mind. When she got her teeth into something, that was it. Her impulsive nature is there, which is a positive quality, really. Of course, it can be a negative quality too, but when channeled in the right direction, do it, but do it now attitude. And her giving her whole life, and the key is in her very name, Nivedita, dedicated one. So all of this we found as an inspiration for us, that you too can be a world mover. And this dual ideal, that we can have both the thunderbolt and the pen, that we can and must have grit and determination and a heroine's attitude, a lioness's attitude, or lion's attitude on the one hand, and love and expression on the other. The pen was really where she expressed herself, I think, in my view anyway, where she expressed herself with the most ease. And it was noted that her writings of the Victorian style, so maybe in this modern age not so easy to read until you get into the flow of it, I might add. And then you'll find what a wonderful delight it is. So all of these things, and for these reasons, I heartily thank Mataji for coming here today and giving us these new insights into our own heroine, Sister Nivedita. I also thank Swami Vimokshananda for his generous introduction and welcome. And I thank our band, our musicians, who play with such consistent enthusiasm. And I thank you all for coming. And with this, our heart